I'm so glad that the Bible is such an honest book. And how we find God dealing with flesh and blood, men and women, people whose hearts sometimes fail them for fear. They're not supermen, they're not superwomen. They're vulnerable, like you and me. And that's why the Bible's such a wonderful book. It doesn't just give us abstract concepts. It gives us stories of how God deals with human people in their frailty. And so we see Elijah running for his life, praying that he might die. Like Moses said, let me die one day. David said, one day I shall die at the hands of Saul. These are human people, and yet they prove God so wonderfully. That's why there's hope for us. We can prove God. And ultimately, we're going to find Elijah gets picked up again by God absolutely wonderfully. He's not disqualified. That's not the end of him, as we shall go on to see. But he is at a low. And we notice as he runs out into the wilderness, when the Bible uses phrases like that, often you're meant to see that, into the wilderness. Like when Judas Iscariot walked out from that room with the disciples, it said he went out and it was dark. Yeah, it was dark. Yeah, these words have meaning. We can run into a wilderness sometimes. It's a wilderness where we stopped trusting. Suddenly Elijah ran out of confidence in God. Every other time where it says Elijah arose and went, it's because God told him to arise and go. This time he arose and went because Jezebel had threatened him. He rose and went. Now he's on his own. Now he's not in faith. Now he's in problems. And the last thing we see before his actual encounter with God was that he said to his servant, you stay here. Interesting. Who was his servant? Where did Elijah get a servant from? Well, some have suggested maybe it was the young boy he raised from the dead. Somehow a young boy who wanted to serve Elijah. And I can imagine him running alongside Elijah and glancing up at him and thinking, why are we going? What are we doing? And I guess his eyes were so penetrating. I guess Elijah couldn't live with that young boy's eyes anymore. He said, you stay here. I'm going on alone. Dear friends, watch yourself. Watch when you don't want to be with believers. Watch when you want to be alone. Beware. Oh yeah, hope deferred makes the heart sick. He'd been through a terrible time, but we need fellowship. We need one another. You don't need to be running away on your own. Here Elijah runs for it, leaves behind the boy he'd had fellowship with, the boy who had seen him call down fire from heaven. He couldn't handle that any longer. Yet God is full of compassion for him, as we shall see when we come back to this story next time.